Actually, you can still stay here. I have one question for you. Renard, come here. I have one question for you. I know you have a relationship with Nigerian political leaders.
Until Nigeria and Africa more broadly, until they understand how to play the sophisticated level of global politics. It's about having friends and allies, and right now, Nigeria doesn't have many allies in the U.S. You all have, I forget the last number that I saw, but you all probably got several 100,000 Nigerians in the U.S. who most of them are citizens. Y'all never contact your congressman. Why? Your senator. Why? You never dialogue with people like me. I mean, heck, I think I'm in Nigeria more than most Nigerians in the diaspora. And so my point is that the U.S. position is all about, and it's not that we don't care about, when I say we, I'm talking about the U.S. government and our policy, but Nigeria is not engaged on the same level like in Israel. Israel got people in front of Congress every day, walking the halls of Congress saying, we want this, we want that, and Mr. Politician, if you don't vote for Nigeria, we're not going to give you a fundraiser, we're going to have our people write letters, we're going to support your opponent. Nigeria's got to get more sophisticated and learn how to play global politics, because it's not about doing the right thing anymore, because it's the right thing. Those days, no. It's about doing the right thing because someone feels threatened if they don't do the right thing. So that's kind of how the U.S. views Nigeria. We need the oil, but what's going to happen in the next 30 years? In Nigeria, over half the population is under 17. That's a huge potential market for upward mobility and for U.S. companies to sell their products and wear it. For airline, that's a huge future potential of passengers coming back and forth. So Nigeria is not going anywhere, but I think it's best for Nigeria to play from a position of strength versus weakness.
That definitely resonates in people's minds. We have to engage with the Americans. We have to really engage with them. I understand that we model everything that they do here. And there's kind of set the pace for us. And we need to just tap into that and take it back home to impact the people over there. We are privileged to be here. Let's make the opportunity happen. I'm not going to go to my panelists. I want you to introduce yourself. And right after that, the question I'm going to have for you is, what do you think the issue, just one issue, that you think Nigeria is facing? And what solution do you have for us to move forward? So help me to introduce yourself, and then you can answer that question. Yes. Is that so much for you?
That's fine. Hi, everybody. They have to try to wake up, but we've had some wonderful speakers so far. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. My name is Okemfe Liberty. I'm kind of what you consider a political junkie. I love politics a lot because I believe that one way or the other, everything that we do in this life is political. And most of them requires political solutions to them. I am the co-founder and vice president of the Council of Young African Leaders. We are based in New York City. And our mission is to cultivate leadership from awareness to action by connecting young Africans to programs that promote cultural awareness, networking, and economic development. And 2 years ago, I also ran for New York State Assembly. And the reason I ran for New York State Assembly was, as diverse as New York City is, we don't have any Africans who are currently holding any political office. But if you look at New York City, every single ethnic group, look at the Spanish, look at the Jews, look at the Haitians, look at the Jamaicans, everybody is represented. And that's how they bring their issues of their home countries to the forefront of the political agenda, and that's how they get listened to. Just kind of what I was alluding to earlier. So we've got to get out there and we've got to get engaged. And to answer some of his questions, for me, it starts with what is the role of government? We live in America, or what they say, we live in the industrial world. And here in relation to the role of government that we have back home. So in any single government, there's got to be some sound principles that is following our leadership that helps us govern. And for me, it's three things. Number one, aggregating funds to be spent on common needs. Two, holding and disposing funds for social insurance services. And three, creating and adjudicating rules for interactions between people and institutions. Now, when we look at our government, none of these things is happening at all. The ambassador spoke about education. Education is non-existent in Nigeria. Here we have some form of a public-private partnership when it comes to different things that is going on. Right now in Nigeria, we have more of the private folks or the private companies who are doing a lot more of the work that the government is supposed to be doing. And he spoke about, how many people have been to Dubai or have seen Dubai? You've been there.
I've seen it in pictures.
Or on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, what was Dubai like?
Land.
It was plain land, right? There was nothing.
Yes.
And so, what did they discover? They discovered oil.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 years later, what does it look like now?
Oh, heaven.
So, you look at Nigeria, in the 60s, we didn't have that, right? And when we had oil, we had the opposite of what is supposed to be happening. And so when everybody is running away from Africa, it's because we have, bad, I don't want to say bad leadership, but I'm trying to political, but the main thing, so we have bad leadership, and why do we have bad leadership? Why? Because our government and our leaders do not look at the people that they are going to public service to serve the people. They're going in to serve themselves. So instead of government becoming about how do we care about us, the people, the benefit of the whole, it becomes how do I use the government to care about myself and my family and my friends. And so if that is what we are going to be doing for the foreseeable future, with my brother, the next 60 years is probably going to be worse than what we've seen so far. So again, what is the solution? Because I don't want to criticize too much, but it's also very important that we offer a solution. We also here we have, I think we do have solutions, but the solution, again, is kind of almost tied with the problems that we're having. Because, we want to have people here in the diaspora who have learned, who've got their education, they went to Harvard, they went to Kingston, they went to all the best schools. And now you tell them, okay, so go back home, get involved in government, and try to make a difference, right? So that is part of the solution of what it should be. If you look at China, the government, they send their people to school in the West, and after a certain time they go back home and contribute to the sustainable development of the country. That's how it's supposed to be. But the problem is with us in the diaspora, once we finish the education, we get all the Western education, we then go back home and get involved in the same corruption and the same embezzlement that was going on before we left. And so it becomes, how do we change the mindset? How do we have, how do we free ourselves from what I call mental slavery that we are still facing? So we have to examine ourselves and before we go back home, we have to tell ourselves, I'm going back home to make a difference. If you go back home to run for politics, you should not be going back home to run for politics so you can get more money. You should be going back home so you can build schools.
Absolutely.
So you can build, access to healthcare. So you can do beautiful things for the people because the government is not a national cake. It is for you to help the people. But in Africa, we believe government is a national cake. We see it as a means to an end. So using it to help our people. So, I don't want to,
Blogger and a talk radio host. I blog on Verastic.com and I host my weekly Saturday show on Giddy Lounge FM. It should have been on in 20 minutes, but I'm here. I live here in Maryland, and to address your question, I think that our biggest problem in Nigeria is the way we think. I know we have problems with stuff like, sorry, I'm losing my thoughts. I know we have problems with corruption and all these things, but I think that the first and biggest problem we have is our orientation, the way we think, the way we consider things, the way we assess problems. I mean, I think that as long as Nigeria, as long as we continue to think the way we think right now, that the Western nations will forever be ahead of us. I don't think that we have a fighting chance if we continue to think the way we do think. I mean, it starts with the little things. From if you come out in the morning and you miss your bus, it could be that the driver is running late, not necessarily that someone sent you a witch from Nigeria to stop the bus and not let you get, but that's the way we think, even in little things like that. And a lot of us leave Nigeria or wherever we're from and come here to continue to live as if we're in Nigeria. And just as Raynard said, and I know I'm guilty of this too, we do not, as people, as a nation, we do not socialize with other people. Yes, we know we're different. We know we only have this.
Talk about making change. It's making change through medical aid initiatives. It's a nonprofit dedicated to making change. We have different programs that we're working on, but the most right now the project that has making an impact the most is our Meals on Wheels. It's something we got from here. Meals on Wheels, everybody knows about it here, and we decided to do it back home because food. People are hungry everywhere, and in Nigeria. It's a major problem that we didn't even realize it was that bad until we started giving the food and people would be struggling. And these are pictures of some of the events that we've had and how the response, this is at a hospital, the teaching hospital in Lagos, the pediatric hospital, and even the nurses will be asking us for food. And this is...
Of course now.
Yes, even the nurses will be asking us once we get that, the security guards, the nurses, these are mothers of the kids, we feed them, and then we go to different places. We go to where the beggars are. We thought the beggars were the people that would want the food, but when we went to institutions, we went to places that people are asking us for food. Last month, we actually partnered we were talking about partnership with a group called Golden Hearts, and they were having an outreach, and we partnered with them. This is where these people are the cobblers. Under the bridge in or part of Agege. So we go to different parts and we work with orphanages just to provide food for people. A meal a day takes hunger away. And we've fed over 10,000, we've fed over every month, we go every month now, we're trying to increase it to every week. But everything is, mostly it's 95% self-funded, my family. And I have family and friends, so about 5% of friends have been part of it. Trying to get grants from the US. And Nigeria, it's really tough. But it's not all about money. If you have time, you can donate your time. If you have food, we'll collect your food. And we're partnering with NRC and Exit Skill. We're trying to go back in December and get people more involved in working with us. And we're trying to raise money to get a bus because we use one of our buses, one of our cars at home to do it. But we want to have something dedicated to the Meals on Wheels program and want to increase the number of times we go out and give food. And we have other projects. We have this Youth Solar Save Lives, where we partner with a group in Kenya where they indigenously make solar lanterns. And we give it to people to use instead of using kerosene. It saves money. And then also we have this micro enterprise thing where we teach them how to invest their money. And then we have missions, medical missions, where we go and help treat people for free. And basically just trying to find a way, in our own little way, to give back to Nigeria. So if you would like to be a part of us, there's information about us outside. We have flyers, and our contact information is there. And anything you can do to help us would be great. We're trying to go home in December. If you're interested in doing that, feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.